Hi guys, it's Sam from Made by Erin. I'm jumping on today. I'm doing a bunch of batch sewing. Um, I'm in trouble because I keep doing this last minute. So, but I set a time, so here I am. I'll give it a second for people to join. So, just to let you guys know what I'm doing, I am just sewing. So, Friday is my kids' free day. So, I actually have no one around. It's just me. And this is the day where I get the most sewing done. The problem is, I don't know who else is like me, but I get distracted so easily, um, especially this time of the day. Hi, Jassy. She's just joined in from Singapore. One of the problems with me, especially this time of the morning, is Singapore is awake, so Jassy's awake. The US is still awake. So then, if anyone knows any of the sophisticated craft mods, Nikki and Jen are awake. So I am just chatting to everyone. I've got one of my friends, Milena, in the UK. I don't know if she's still awake now. She might be about to go to bed. So this time of morning, I'm so unproductive because I'm constantly messaging people. So if anyone sees me right now, this is embarrassing because I am struggling to thread my machine right now. Hi, Nikki. So I can't believe I licked my thread. I've not done that in years. This is what happens when you go live, right? So I thought if I go live and I am sewing while I'm talking, then surely that has to be productive, right? That makes sense. So, for those of you who don't know, obviously I am attempting to YouTube. I do some tutorials here and there. Let me see if I can get this camera a little bit lower to see my machine a bit more. There we go. You're seeing a different side of my craft room than I normally like to show. That's my mess cupboard over there. It's not too messy. I'm not showing you my table because that's a mess. But so what I wanted to do today is make some little pouches. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is it. This is my own design. There are a couple of patterns out there. Ooh, wrong way. A couple of patterns out there that look similar to this. But this is what I'm doing. You guys can't see the cupboard that I've got behind me. I've literally got about 400 of these stacked behind. I've cut a bunch of these that I am sewing up today. So these are great little pouches that I use at markets because they use one sheet of vinyl and I get about 3 out of them. Jassy says I need a needle threader. I do, or better eyes. And these sell great for me at markets because they're cheap little makes. I make a lot of them at a time. When I went to Supernova, which is one of the big Comic-Con events I did in Sydney, I had 450 of them, I think I made up to sell. I didn't sell 450 of them. That would be amazing. But it's a good little profit maker for me. But it's also really good for those mind-numbing days where I don't know who else is like me. I'm almost certain I've got ADHD. Don't we all think that nowadays though? Because I literally cannot keep on track. And today's one of those days. I've got so many custom orders to make. And then I've got all these Christmas things that I need to get done. So it's just a quick little make. So this is how I do these kind of things where I'm batch sewing. As you can see, my zipper is still on a roll. So I'm literally going to sew with it. This isn't a tutorial. I'm just sewing and talking and seeing how you guys are. And I thought I'd jump on and have a chat because I love to talk. Do you know, this is actually really embarrassing because I sew by myself a lot. And if you've watched any of my videos, any of my tutorials, you know I talk a lot. And embarrassingly, even when the camera's not running, I am talking. So I'm just constantly talking and singing and to myself. So why not film it and have you guys join me? And then I can have friends. How sad is that to even say that out loud? That's toddler life, right? Like I've got a 2-year-old, I've got a 4-year-old, stay at home. So I'm just constantly by myself. And yeah, so having you guys join me is awesome fun. So what I'm doing now, obviously this isn't a great view of the sewing machine, but as you can see, I'm just adding next piece as I go. So what I'm doing here is, so these are roughly about 4 inches wide. So if I were cutting zipper tape, I would be cutting these zipper tapes at like 4.5 inches. So by the time I do that, and I'm doing like 20 in a row, half an inch, 20 inches, that's 10 inches of wasted zipper tape. So whereas if I do this like this, I don't know how you can see that. See the gap in between there? That's not a half-inch gap. It's not even a quarter-inch gap. That's maybe 1/16 of an inch. So it's just wide enough that I can snip it with my scissors. So I'm wasting less, yeah, I guess I'm like wasting less zipper tape because zipper tape's expensive. Hi, Rochelle. Oh, I've got friends. Oh, this is exciting. So that's why I like to do it this way. Because that way I can yeah, slowly move my stuff along and actually have, yeah, waste less material. And that's what we all want to do, right? Because right now in the economy that we have, I don't know how bad it is around the world, but in Australia, it's everyone's on struggle street at the moment. So like I can't afford to raise my prices because if I raise my prices for my bags, then people can't afford to buy them. And at the same time, I have to find a way to somehow save money without losing on quality because otherwise, why am I doing this? You know, like if you're selling to sell, you need. So this is where this batch sewing came in because obviously, like I said before, a lot less material wastage. That one's a big gap there. Whoopsies. A lot less material wastage, but also a lot less time wastage. So instead of doing one at a time, and I'm doing multiple at a time, I'm saving so much time. The last tutorial that I did, if any of you guys noticed, was the, oh, she is up here, is the Zaria Charm. So these guys, I did my first two one at a time, and each one took about an hour cut and sew. So, but then the next lot I did three or four in one go. And it took me 90 minutes to do 4 compared to if I did them 4 individually, that would have been 4 hours. So batch sewing is a real love of mine, really. So whenever I'm sewing anything up for stock, I try to batch sew as much as I can because it's such a time saver. The biggest thing with batch sewing and the biggest tip I could give is your thread color. So I'm a huge believer on matching thread color. I just think unless you are amazing at top stitching, and I mean amazing, if your thread color doesn't match and your top stitching isn't perfect, it really brings down the look of your bag really quickly. So I try to always have the right color thread for the job that I'm doing. And if I'm doing that, I find that, you know, everything looks a bit prettier, it's easier. And so when I'm batch sewing the same thread color, I've probably lost my train of thought, who knows? But when I'm batch sewing the same color thread, it means that I'm not changing thread all the time. If anyone was in here when Jassy was in here and I was trying to thread my machine and you saw how long it took me, you would understand why I don't like changing thread when I don't have to. Another mistake I know I've made today is your bobbin. I haven't filled up my bobbin yet. I've had a few people already say to me, always fill up your bobbin before you start filming tutorials or videos. But I don't do that in real life. So why would I do that when I'm filming? Like, I want to be real with you guys, right? This is just me. Like you can tell I haven't done my hair, I haven't done my makeup. This is literally me sewing in real life and hopefully entertaining you guys while I do it and maybe sharing some tips and hints. So that's what I'm doing. Oh, Nikki, live on the edge, live on the edge. There we go. I got there. Oh, I cannot talk to Nikki. So Nikki's just started a YouTube channel as well. Well, not just started. She actually used to have one with doll making. Resin Melody. If you haven't subscribed to her, if you haven't checked her out, go check her out. Nikki is hilarious. She is. Oh, I waste too much time with that girl. Seriously. Our messages. If I didn't message her, I would probably get so much more work done. So I blame you. So if it wasn't for you, she wrote, or she doesn't realize I just called her out yet. I love the delay on this. But it's all my fault. So I've gotten a few done. I still have a giant stash, but I think I'm going to leave it at here just so I can show you guys what I'm doing. So if I pull it out now, so you can see zipper tape still connected. So I'm going to cut my zipper tape here. I'm trying to find my bad scissors. I don't like using my good scissors on the zipper teeth. I don't know if that's a me thing, but I feel like surely it'll dull your scissors, right? So I try to use like my older ones. These are pretty though. So I've just cut that off. So as you can see, because I'm doing it this way instead of, cutting a slightly longer zipper tape to it, it just gives me a lot more space to play with. If it looks like I'm looking for something, I am. It's my lighter. It's missing again. My lighters are always missing. So I'm just singeing the ends there of my zipper tape. I always do it, even though these zipper tapes aren't to size yet, because I've had one too many zipper tapes run, and it's just not a risk I want to deal with right now. Like I said, we're trying to save money. We're trying to cut down costs without cutting down quality wherever we can, and that is by having less wastage, right? So this is one of you would think that this pattern is one that I would use for my scraps. It's not. I was talking to Nikki this morning and she's been using scraps to cut these out. And if you're using scraps to cut it, you're spending so much time. I use the A4 sheets because I've got a system and I've worked out the measurements for my pouches match up exactly for that A4 sheet. So I literally can get 3 out of that. It's quick, easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuts-ish on the sheet. So I'm not wasting as much time. These ones I even bulk cutted. I've never done that before. If anyone's seen any of my acrylic template videos, I am not skilled at a rotary knife. So that was a bit scary. I'm top stitching at the moment, in case anyone was wondering. But am I top stitching? Yes, I am. I talk too much that sometimes I forget to change the stitch length, but I did. We're safe. It's okay. So with these petite pouches, and this might be a bit horrible to say, but these are my lowest price items that I ever offer for sale. So because of that, I don't bother changing threads to match my color. With my more expensive makes and my more, important makes, I shouldn't say that. All my makes are important. But I do change thread colors to match. But with these, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my effort. And that's where I've had to come to terms with things, I guess, because I know a lot of stuff is in our own minds as sewists as well. So I am crazy for clean top stitching. If there is a photo on any bag making Facebook page and the top stitching is like clean and precise and perfectly even, I'm like, oh, that's the most amazing bag I've ever seen in my life. But we have to remember that's not the average consumer. And that's where I know my mistake comes from as well. Of course, I still want them as perfect and as beautiful as possible. But is it worth the fact that these pouches, for me anyway, they're $10 pouches, but if I have to change the thread color to match every single piece of fabric, then that not so much production cost, but it's a time cost, right? So is a consumer going to pay an extra dollar because I'm using green thread on a green pouch instead of white thread on this green pouch? Probably not. So that's like a realization I've had to come to and choose my battles as to what's important, what's not. With my custom bigger makes, definitely, I always match thread color. It's one of the really bad things I have with myself. I have been known to change threads like 5 times in one bag make. I know, maybe it's a bit excessive, but I don't know. No one believes me when I show them my room because I'm a mess. Like this is clean for me. So I am a messy person, but I'm a perfectionist. Or maybe that is normal. I don't know. I don't know what's normal anymore. But so I am really hard on myself. And I think that makes me a good bag maker. So, and that's what I like to do. I just want to make sure that everything's as perfect as I can be. So I've almost finished top stitching. And as you can see, like, how many have I done here? I don't even know how many I'm making it. at one go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've got 12 here. So it's not too bad. 12 to go. Obviously, because I am talking and trying to know what I'm talking about. I don't even know if I'm making sense, you guys. Like, I don't know why you guys are watching me. I'm probably like a lunatic sitting here just talking. But yeah, because I am pretty much sewing these as I go, I messed up. Normally I have all of these set up in exactly what I was doing when, like, so in piles, and I've kind of messed up my piles. So now I have to sort these out. But yeah, so I'm sewing a lot slower than normal, purely because I'm talking constantly, which I'm really enjoying. I hope you guys are too. Oh, Angela's joined as well. Hi, Angela. So this is fun for me, I think. Oh. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just trying to work out what I'm doing. So yeah, if you are new to selling, I was talking to one of my friends in the UK today, Milena. She's just about to start her business as well. I think I was really lucky. I might start talking business side things for a little bit, I guess. But I was really lucky in that I think I have a very clear sense of self. That could be a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know. So personality wise, I've always known who I am. I try not to get bothered by other people, and I think I've taken that to the business side of things as well. So when I first decided I wanted to make bags, I was very clear on what I wanted to do and what I wanted to make. So my brand has always been adult geek. So geek chic is what I like to call it. So I wanted to cater to the adult market because, especially for us here in Australia, a lot of the geekier stuff is really aimed towards kids or tweens, and it's not much aimed towards adults. And the biggest difference for me as an adult compared to when I was a kid is, first of all, disposable income. But second of all is the ability to appreciate quality, right? Like, I don't want to go out, like, I'm happy to spend money, but whatever I'm spending it on, I want the quality to be good. So that's where I've realized that there was a gap in the market, and it was a gap that I was happy to fill because it's what I like to do. So that's exactly where I marketed myself. Some people have asked me why Made by Erlen. So my name's Sam. Erlen is not my name. It's not my middle name. I have no middle name. I'm so boring. So Erlen is actually an elf hunter. I am a closet geek. I don't know if it's so closet anymore now, though. So Erlen was back in the day. I'm not going to give away how old I am, but back in the day when I was in uni, I used to play this game called Lord of the Rings online. I don't know if it's still available. I stopped playing when they started charging subscription. I'm a bit of a cheapskate. Hey, don't you dare. Nikki just called me a nerd, and she's the biggest nerd, so she can't talk, okay? But back in the day, Lord of the Rings Online was my lifesaver. I played it so often at uni. I struggled for a little bit to find my place at uni. I guess most people do that, right? Like, we're all struggling to find where we belong. And I played a lot of Lord of the Rings Online. And Lord of the Rings Online, my character was a elf hunter. Lara Croft ruled. Yes, she did. But yeah, so my elf hunter was, she was an elf hunter from Linden, and her name was Erland. That was the name I was assigned. And that name kind of followed me along throughout gaming. Here's a little bit of embarrassing story to tell. So my partner, Charlie, and we met online. In my early 30s, I had a little midlife crisis. I'm sharing too much information now. I'm sorry. But I had a little I can't call it a midlife crisis with my 30s, right? But tri-life crisis? I don't know. Whatever it is. But I had a little crisis, and I had like a little eat, pray, love moment. and pretty much resulted in me realizing that I was in the wrong career. I studied the wrong thing in uni. My whole life was going down the wrong track and nothing was right. Um, so I started again. And one of the things that brought me joy at the time was this. This sounds so gay. Not even, this just sounds so silly. So the only thing that brought me joy at the time was this online mobile game. Yeah, I am a nerd. I know. Um, called Kings of Avalon. I don't know if anyone ever played that. Is anyone as much of a geek as I am? So there's this mobile phone game called Kings of Avalon, and I used to play it religiously. And that's how Charlie, my partner, and I met. Charlie is from Scotland. I'm in Australia, and we met on this stupid mobile phone game. So Charlie first knew me as Erland. So because on all these games, I'm always Erland. I actually have friends in the UK that still only call me by Erland because that's who I am to them. I'm not Sam, I'm just Erland. So when I decided to start my business, I was like, you know what? Erland perfectly embodies who I wanted to be. Erland she's an elf hunter. I mean, do I need to say more? She's elegant, she's wise, she's sophisticated, she is classy, she's beautiful. And that's who I wanted to be. So I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. And so that's where I started my business. And I think I ummed and ahed for a long time with the business name because, I could have done something super simple like Made by Sam. And everyone can spell Made by Sam. Made by Erilyn, I lost customers, probably have lost customers because they can't remember how to spell the name. But at the same time, if you type in Erilyn in Google right now, I'm the only one popping up. So if you type in Sam Harris in Google right now, I guarantee I am not on there. And this isn't the first time I've tried to make Sam Harris a thing. So in a previous life, I was a real estate agent. Please don't judge me. I was a real estate sales agent. So total different change of brains from what I was doing. So I studied economics and law in uni. I was a real estate agent, real estate sales agent, and I've turned over to the creative side. I've never realized I was a creative person until I found bag making. And bag making has just been fun. So I think for anyone who has been thinking about starting a business, or if you're new or just in the process of it, definitely one thing that I would say is worth doing and spending a lot of time doing, well, maybe not a lot of time, but spending the time doing, is figuring out your identity, your personality, why your bags over someone else's bags, and then actually taking time to identify your market. I know everyone says that. That's like beginner intro 101 in marketing, right? But I think it's something that I've noticed a few of us fail at, is not realizing our market and actually gearing ourselves towards that market. I think whoever is up there every day, I definitely got lucky. I found a group of people that has helped me more than I could ever imagine. I'm a self-taught sewist. So I studied high school in Hong Kong for a few years, and that's when they do home economic classes. And I wasn't allowed near a sewing machine because my teachers were so worried that I was a spoiled little brat that I would sew over my finger. So my teachers would automatically give me a B in home ec so that I wouldn't touch a sewing machine. That's the kind of portrayal I had in life. So I taught myself how to sew, as I think a lot of people probably did during COVID. So are we allowed to say COVID now? Like we're over not saying that, right? But I was pregnant with my son Kian at the time. Kian is born peak COVID. Oh my God, someone did sew her finger. Please don't tell me that. I do not need to know that. That is petrifying. Should I be talking while I'm sewing? Now I'm scared. But so I started sewing peak COVID because my son was born peak COVID. And I was locked in the house. I was bored. And so I went looking for what could I do at home. And I found a sewing machine. So it was a sewing machine that I bought when I was 15 or 16, secondhand. It was a 1970s Singer, so not vintage. I guess nowadays you'd call it 70 vintage, but I wouldn't call it a vintage machine like this beautiful girl here. So I pulled her out and I made, what did I make first? I made change mat covers. And like most people then, I think I tried to, or I thought I would go into making like reusable diapers, cloth diapers. That never happened. I ended up buying all my reusable diapers. So I bought a bunch of cloth diapers and bought into, never sewed anything like that until Savannah. So when Savannah, my 2-year-old, was born, some of you know this, so it might not be new information, but some of you, I'm sorry, I'm oversharing again. When Savannah was born, she had, we didn't know what was wrong with her. I knew something was wrong with her. There was something wrong. She was born full term. There was no reason to think there was anything wrong. But she wasn't putting on weight and she was crying all the time. And the nurses kept saying to me, that's what babies do. Babies cry all the time. I'm like, no. This is not normal. There's something wrong. Anyway, we found out about 10 weeks into her life that she had a hernia, an inguinal hernia. So for 10 years in her life, she lived in pain and no one took me seriously. Anyway, that kind of sent me down a mental black hole. I was not well mentally. And luckily, I found bag making and in particular, sophisticated craft designs. I know I talk about sophisticated craft a lot and I do a lot with that side of things. And it genuinely is the community at Sophisticated Craft probably saved my life, in all honesty. I learned how to sew through Jassie's patterns. Sorry, I'm trying to get zippers. I learned how to sew through Jassie's patterns. The third bag I ever made was a fold and zip backpack. For those of you who don't know it, go check it out. It's a gorgeous backpack. My son still uses his daily now as his daycare bag and the park bag. And I think it's an intermediate pattern, but that's one of the things that you'll probably find with me when I do tutorials. I talk about the difficulty levels. It may sound like I downplay difficulty levels, but to me, genuinely, the way that Jassie writes her patterns, I think anyone can do even a harder pattern. It's just taking time. And maybe that's my personality, but I genuinely think bag making isn't hard. If you've got someone there to write you through step by step, anyone can do it. Don't everyone go out and do it because, I still need to have a business somewhere. Sorry, that's me being selfish. But, bag making isn't hard. You just need to follow the instructions step by step. Take your time. And I think the biggest thing is patience. So here I am doing another bag making production step that I do. So here this is the front panel of all my little pouches done. I call them petite pouches. So if I accidentally call it a petite pouch, that's why I advertise them as petite pouches. So I'm now putting my zippers on. So instead of cutting them up now, I'm putting all the zippers on now in one go. And then I just pull it down to each pouch. To me, it's a time saver because I can literally just sit here and just keep putting zipper after zipper after zipper on instead of having to pick up the next one and do another one. Again, like I was saying before, I'm probably saving, I don't know, out of 12, I'm maybe saving 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there, but those 10 seconds add up. And I think as bag makers or even just crafters in general who sell our craft, we don't value our time enough. And I think that needs to change. If I'm not sitting here and I'm not doing these pouches, what else could I have been doing? I could have been cleaning the house. I could be out there working a job. I could be taking care of my children. So every minute that we spend doing something that we then sell, it's important. And it's important that we get paid for it, right? I think that's one of the hardest things I think us as crafters have is because we forget that our time is money as well. So yeah, that's why I production sew because I have to try and make up my own perfectionist problems elsewhere. um, because there is just, yeah, we are all guilty of it. I should cut these threads. These threads are getting in my way. I try not to cut my top sewing, my top, I can't talk, my top stitching threads too short. And the reason being is because I don't know if you guys noticed, I didn't backstitch. I didn't tie them off because I'm going to sew them shut. So if I leave them longer, it makes it easier for me to sew it shut when the time comes. Oh, this zipper tape is not my friend today. I assume most people know how to use continuous zipper tape, but how I like to do it is when I put it on, I pay attention to which side was higher up because you always have one side where the teeth is slightly higher up than the other. So when I put it on, so for me, it's this side. So when I put it on, I then make sure I put the side that had this higher side on first at a slight angle before I put the other side in and then slide them in. And then I just need to get them all back down to the bottom. So this is, I know in my tutorials, this is not how I sew because obviously in the tutorials, I'm just trying to show you guys how to sew, but these are some of my little, hi, these are just some of my little, my little tips and tricks of how I've been doing these to save me some time. Probably isn't going to look like I'm saving time because I am talking so much this whole time, but yeah, these are great little time-saving tips, hopefully. When I first started making these pouches, I was literally sewing them one at a time. And the reason I stopped is slowly picking up tips and tricks that worked for me. And that's all you can do, right? Is just keep slowly trying to find out what works. This zipper doesn't like me. This is one of the things when you're live, right? Everything just seems so much more, no, why are you not working? I'm hoping you guys are sitting through all of my like first time doing weird stuff. So obviously yesterday I opened a parcel live for the first time. Today I just thought I'll let you guys in while I'm sewing. I'm hoping that eventually maybe I could come on and actually live with you guys. Oh, what am I making? Here we go. It has been a while since I talked about it. I'm making these little pouches. So I am production making them 12 at a time. So this is one of my own patterns that I've kind of done myself, but there are a few patterns that are available that are similar to it. I've made my own because I needed dimensions to fit, to be honest, my sheet of vinyl. So these are, I'm sorry if some of you already heard this, but because we've got new people joining us constantly. So these are my little, my cheapest makes that I have at markets. So these are my little $10 makes. I'm doing a bunch of Christmas ones at the moment because I've just had a few people start inquiring about Christmas. I'm a bit of a funny person. For the business side of things, I try not to do seasonal very often because for some reason, seasonal doesn't seem to sell as well for me. They do, just not as well as probably I'd hope. So last year, I think I made, I think I made maybe 150 Christmas pouches last year. And I did a Christmas market and I sold 10. So, and that was for a specific Christmas market. I sold 10. I sold 200 other pouches, but 10 Christmas ones. Luckily for me, I gifted 50 of them to my kids' daycare, to the educators. So yeah, I gifted a bunch there and my mum bought a bunch of them. Does it count if your own mother buys it? Oh, yay! Signed up to do a holiday market. Starts in November. Oh, how exciting. I have put my name down for one. There's one big holiday market near where I am. So I'm on the Central Coast in New South Wales in Australia. I've signed up to do one and they haven't come back to me yet. I don't know. I'm waiting to hear back. So that's the only one I've signed up for this year, but I've done, so the holiday markets, I don't know if anyone wants to know this or not, The things that have worked for me is trying to keep your have a couple of big ticket items. Obviously, this is location dependent, so I could be giving you completely rubbish advice, but location dependent. But I've found the little things, like the cheaper things, are really good. So, like these guys, I sell these for $10 each. And these were great for little kids that had their pocket money and they were just getting things for mum that they thought mum would like. So a lot of floral prints sold to little kids buying for their mum, for me. And then some cutesy ones for friends, like that kids bought. The next price mark up for me was around the $50 to $60, $65 mark. I had a fair few around that mark as well of people buying Christmas presents. So that's a good mark to have. My bigger makes, so like my $150 to $200 makes, those drew in custom makes for me. So if you are willing to do custom makes, especially, sorry, House of Stitches says that she signed up for one starting in November. Yeah. So if that's enough of a time frame for you and you're willing to try and do it, advertise for custom makes, have a sign up. I always do this in all the markets that I do. I have a big sign up saying custom makes welcome, appreciated, something along those lines. And my big ticket bags always get custom make requests. My biggest one that gets the most requests, if anyone wanted to have a look at it, is the sophisticated laptop bag. I love that bag. I don't have it on me here because I think, let me just quickly see if Charlie's left it down here. Nope, he's taken it back upstairs. He took it to work yesterday and I saw it down here recently, but he's obviously taken it back. But the laptop bag is such a crowd drawer. I always have it kind of front and center in my store. Well, I can't work out left and rights on this camera. Like front and center in my store, right next to my sign, hung up nice and high. People always ask about them. And I try to, if you have the time to do them, if you want to, I'm not saying everyone go make a laptop bag now. I make a 13.3 inch in a more feminine print, and then I make a 16 inch in a more masculine print to show like this pattern can work for boys and girls. Am I allowed to say boys and girls nowadays? I don't know, but it can work for all genders, all specific types. And yeah, and then so I kind of do that and have that up there. And that really helps draw in the interest. And then you can tell them, oh yeah, I can make whatever you want. I can do it different colors, message me, talk to me. There's been a few times where I take deposits there and then, but I try not to. I much prefer to deal with people afterwards because when I'm at the market, I'm just too busy. I don't want to sit there and talk to someone for, 20 minutes choosing fabric. But I say to them, look, go on my Facebook page, have a look at what I've done. If there's anything that jumps out at you, let me know and we can work on it together. And if it's a market near you as well and you're happy to deliver, that's one thing that I found really helped me get custom makes at markets. A lot of people at the market, or maybe it's just my area, they hate paying postage. So for people that live within like a 15, 20-minute drive from me, I'll offer to drop it to them or they can come pick it up from me. Luckily for me, most people say they'll pick it up, especially when they see that I've got like 2 little kids running around. So I do use my kids to my advantage sometimes. Sorry. I've just finished putting all the zippers on. So all the zippers are on. They're in a row there. So I'm just going to cut them out now to separate them. But yeah, so have some of your, I know I said the laptop bags, but that's one of the great ones that I really like, especially Christmas time, because men are the hardest to buy for. So, but also for, what's the other one that I shouldn't be putting scissors near my mouth, should I? Do not do this if you're a kid and watching from home, hopefully. My sassies are big crowd drawers. My sassies, I tend to do petite sassies at markets because they're easier for me to sew up because they're quicker. But my regular sassies draw in more people. But my regulars, like the laptop bags, are definitely more custom makes. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to the Zaria charm that I just did. Where is it? I've lost it already, the one that I kept bringing down. I know I've got one up there, but the Zaria charm that I just did the tutorial for, I'm going to try, if I get this Christmas Christmas market. I'm going to try and make a few of these up. Where's my camera? There it is. I'm going to try and make a few Christmas versions of that up to see how it goes. I know this isn't a Zari charm, but I think for markets, these could be really good because I've been using this one for myself. I don't know if I should be telling people this. This is my pistachio bag. I've been buying giant bags of pistachio from Aldi, and I've been actually de-shelling them and putting them in here. So I've been using this one's a Vibrant Vu one, so it's a white cleanable, and probably shouldn't do that, but I've been doing that. So I kind of thought, like, for Christmas markets, I'll have them displayed, some of them like this and some of them like tied up, because I think they'll be really great as like tabletop decorations even. Like, I really like it. I think it's super cute. And there's a lady that I sew for. I know this is weird. A lady that I sew for, I do a lot of wholesale sewing for her. So the reason why I sew for this lady, I met her when I first started sewing, and they are bigger than you'd think. But there's this lady that I met when I first started sewing, and I do wholesale sewing for her. She's an Australian Indigenous lady. She has a daughter who I think she's got Down syndrome, but they're a beautiful family, and her mum and her do crafting together with this beautiful Indigenous fabric. But there's certain things that they don't have, I guess, the time or the skill level to do, and they've been asking me to, wholesale sew for them, because personally, I don't sew with Indigenous fabric. I think it's beautiful. Well, I don't sell Indigenous fabric prints. I think it's beautiful, but it's not my story, so I don't do it because I don't understand it. From my understanding is all of their artwork, their dots, their lines, everything has a story behind it. And in case some of you can't tell, I'm half Chinese. My mum is Chinese. There's stories that are special for me, and I'm assuming, this is me assuming, I assume those stories are special to them. So I don't want to, I don't want to tell the story the wrong way. So I just try not to do it. But anyway, she came by yesterday to pick up some things that I've just bulk made for her, and she saw those little Zaria charms, and she has asked me to make her 5 or 6 of them. Not for her to on sell, but for her to gift to family. And she's always been a really good judge for me, because she does so many markets locally. So I figured, okay, if she likes them, then yes, this is the right move to make. So I'm going to be making a bunch of Zaria charms and having them in that, $10 to $50 category. I still have to work out exactly where. There's a post on the sophisticated craft designs group. Sorry, I need to slow down. In the group, where someone was asking about pricing, and I actually did all the maths and worked out how much they cost. So I think, how much am I charging for them? I don't know yet, to be honest. So I priced it up yesterday. So the ones where, if I was using full sophisticated supplies material, which most of mine are, like this one's a Vibrant Vu, and then I use twill. Yeah. See, this one's a hard one to price, because this vinyl I got from a D-stash, and then this Christmas fabric that I managed to buy from Spotlight, which, if you're international, Spotlight is like our Joann's, our Walmart, I guess. I bought it a couple of years ago because I thought I could make Christmas shirts for the family. I cannot sew clothes. Anyone here who can sew clothes, you're amazing. I can't do it. Anyway, so I bought that for like $2 a meter. So I think, I don't know, I'm in my head, I'm kind of feeling around the 35-40 mark, but they're quite a good size. So I don't know if I'm underselling myself. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around it and try to work out pricing. So yeah. Pricing is one of those things that I always have problem with trying to work out, because I'm just like, I just don't I don't know. I feel like I'm the worst person to ask for pricing because I'm a mum of two that is a bit of a cheapskate. So, and like I know how much time I put in and how much I love. So, oh, good. Yeah. So, yeah, that is a good price. Okay. I am not. And that's the thing. Nikki's just said, you're not your target market. And that's so true. And this is what I have to keep reminding myself. I am not my target market because if I see something I love in a bag, I don't buy it. I go home and I make it. So, and my target market isn't doing that. Right. So, and I guess that's the reminder that I always need is, I'm not targeting myself and just having to remember like I will go out and buy clothes. And I've had people ask me because I buy from other makers in Australia as well. And I've had them say like, why you sew bags and your bags are beautiful. Just tooting my own horn there. Um, why aren't you making your own clothes? And to be honest, I recently did a strike and I made some clothes. I don't know if anyone's seen it. But I'm striking for Fizz Gig at the moment. They do amazing geeky prints. I'm so in love with it. Anyway, I did a shirt for their Inkling company recently, and I also did a shirt for the Fizz Gig company, and I can sew it. Oh, thank you. Nikki said the shirt was amazing. I still don't have buttonholes on it. Please don't tell anyone. I've been safety pinning it together. This little old machine, she's beautiful, but she can't do buttonholes. So I have to pull out a different buttonhole machine, a different sewing machine, sorry. But so I don't know how you clothes makers do it. Like cutting the fabric, it's so massive. And I think we just all have different talents and skills and what we like spending our time on, right? And to me, it's bag making. In case you haven't realized by now, I am obviously very scatterbrained. I can go from this topic to that and constantly talk nonstop because I am, my brain goes a million miles an hour. And I think bag making works for that because unlike clothes where I'm sewing like a meter straight line at a time, I'm not doing that with bags. So like this is the Pandora Allura sitting behind me. So I've had a few people ask me like, how have I made so many of these bags? Because it's not a hard make. I've said this a few times, even in my tutorials. It's a long make. It's an 8 to 10 hour make. Same with the Travelnizers, but I'm not bored by it. Whereas if I had to sit down and do an 8 to 10 hour clothing make, I'm sorry if I'm offending any clothing makers right now. I can't do it. I just don't have the ability to sit there and do it. Whereas like even these right now, like this is, if I wasn't talking to you guys, I would have gotten up and made 5 cups of tea already because I'm just like, why am I doing this? So this is the part where I no longer can bulk. So I don't know why I've clipped this. I never clip this in real life. I think because a camera is staring at me, I feel like I need to clip. But so this is the next part. Oh, actually, I'll show you guys a new thing that I've just learned as well. If anyone is doing this bit, or little pouches like this. So I used to then get to this point and clip the front and back together and I just sew the whole rectangle. I've now started just sewing the top along the whole way. And what this has done for me is it's made me able to kind of hold everything in place where it needs to be before I do the rest of the sew. And that seems to save me time, I think. I've only done it once lately and I liked it. So let's see if I like it again. I don't know. I change my mind quite regularly. And what did we just say? Da-da-da-da. Oh no, I struggled with the pattern. Machine was not having it. What I've found, Jassy has this step in all of her patterns, and I used to hate it. I'm sorry, Jassy. But cutting the seam allowance. She's always cut the corner and the seam allowance. And I'm like, no, like you're wasting my time. And honestly, in the Pandora, if you didn't do it, do it. I thought it might have been Holly, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say something in case I got the wrong name. But yeah, definitely cut your seam. Or I don't know if you guys can hear my machine. It's making weird noises. I think I might be about to lose my bobbin race. Yeah, always cut that seam allowance corner. I did. Look at that. Yay. It's one of the good things with my machine. If you pay, that's how much bobbin thread I had left. Oh, this way. That's how much bobbin thread I had left. Um, if anyone has a vintage machine, I don't know if normal machines are like this, normal machines. But vintage machines, you can pay attention and listen to it and you can hear what's happening. It was thick, but I used coated WPC for lining. Yeah. Oh, you need to oil it. Shut up, Nikki. Stop calling me out. Oh, I am really bad at oiling my machine. I really am. But yeah, do not use coated WPC for a Pandora Allure unless you have an industrial. I'm not game enough to try it yet. I one of the things that I do, obviously I test a lot of patterns, especially for Jassy. My vintage Singer is obviously, so I'm struggling to bobbin thread this right now. So my Singer vintage is a domestic machine, but it is slightly stronger. Slightly stronger. I've heard that some people have been able to sew leather on the 201s. But so whenever I test a new pattern or I make a pattern for the first time, even though I love my vinyl makes, I try to not use too much vinyl. So this one, yeah, this was the first Pandora Allure I made. And so what I did to test my bulk was do WPC and vinyl. I did then, I'm pretty sure I've done a vinyl on the Pandora as well. Oh, I did. So this guy here. Oh, making a mess. This one here, and then I did the vinyl on vinyl. I think this is like the 4th or 5th Pandora Allure I made. So always try with lighter material first. I know my machine pretty well, I think, and I still never know because like I feel like, ooh, did you guys see my needle moving? I forgot to turn it off. Oh, thanks, Angela. Thank you for playing with me. I'm like, playing with me? No, thank you for sewing with me. Oh, yay! Angela's going to a market store. Good luck. Oh, yeah, so I try to always use thinner material when I can. One thing that, and I don't want to sound like I'm constantly advertising here, but one thing that really saved me on bulk was genuinely Jassy bringing out sophisticated supplies. So I don't know how many of us on here at the moment are Aussies, but we don't have a lot of choice in Australia. So before Jassy brought out supplies, I was using WPC. I used to just call it WPC, waterproof canvas. But it's, for those in the US, it was similar to the Ottertex that you guys get. So it's that PVC backed WPC that Jassy now has as well. It's only 600D that we could get in Australia. And that was what I was using for lining for all of my bags. And it genuinely killed my machines. Like, it's too thick. But at the same time, one of the things going into bag making was I always knew from the start, if I'm making anything, I want it to be good quality because I'm spending so much time, right? So I've always wanted waterproof materials for the lining. So I know some people have used, cotton woven for linings in the past, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Me personally, I'm that personality where I'm like, I want good quality stuff. And so I've always wanted waterproof. And the only option I could find at the time that was waterproof was, Ottertex style waterproof canvas. And our local craft supply store, Spotlight, they had some outdoor waterproof style fabric, but it frayed. Oh my God, it frayed so badly. It was thinner and easier for my machine, but the fraying almost killed me. Like, I would have to cut it into, whatever the pattern piece was. And then after I'd cut it, I'd have to take a lighter to all of the corners. And then even after sewing it, sometimes I would have to lighter it again. I had glue on standby to kind of glue the edges. It was a disaster. And when Jassy first said that, she was launching into supplies, Oh, stay stitch it. I've not thought of that. To be honest, I'm very new at sewing. This is a little secret. I'm super new at sewing. I've actually only recently learned what stay stitch is, like, when I made that shirt recent, so, like, a week ago. I had to Google what it was because it was in the pattern instructions for the shirt. I am super new. People don't realize I am actually a very new sewist. Um, but yeah, so when Jassy first said she was launching supplies, in all honesty, I thought, why? Why? Like, who's buying, from Singapore to send worldwide, especially like in Australia? We have expensive postage. Like, I am so used to expensive postage. Oh my God. One of the worst custom makes I did, right? So I don't know how many people are from Australia. I know I've said this a few times, but no one's answered me. So anyway, I got a custom order quite early on, luckily, in my custom making career, and they ordered 3 travel nisers. So I quoted her for how much, 3 travel nisers would be. And like, it's a big order, 3 travel nisers, it's like 30 hours, worth of sewing. So it was a big order. And I quoted her the maximum postage I could see on Australia Post that was listed was $25 at the time. So I quoted her, yep, $25 postage. That will cover it. I got to the post office and it was $55. $55 to post this parcel to a different state in Australia. And my mind was blown. I was like, I'm not, what? And I couldn't at that point, because I just started. I couldn't go back to the customer and be like, hey, so you owe me $30 because postage wasn't what I quoted. Because I didn't want to start my business that way. I didn't want to start my business with my mistake, my stuff up, I'm going to charge you money for it. So anyway, I ate that. But because of that, I've always been very scared of postage rates. So when Jassy first said she was doing, supplies, I was like, this stuff better be important and better be really good. Otherwise, sorry, I dropped something. Otherwise, there is no way, like, I love you and I love your stuff and you've made my bag making career, but I can't support it because postage. Anyway, that changed the minute I felt twill. Those of you who know me from Facebook, you sound just like me. Those of you who saw me on Facebook and have seen like my love affair with twill, like, it is real. Seriously, I don't know if I want to show you guys my cupboard. I'll show you guys my cupboard quickly. So, can you see it? This is my twill. So that's my twill and Vibrant Voo cupboard. That's literally all of my linings. Nikki, don't even start this with me. Nikki's trying to say that Vibrant Voo is the best, though. I'm like, no. Not saying Vibrant Voo isn't the best, but I think Vibrant Voo and twill are equally as good. And do you know what? Jassy and I, we didn't have this as an argument, but when Jassy, so twill's obviously been out the longest. It was one of the first things that she bought out. And in all honesty, when Jassy bought out twill, I thought, no, go away, Talia. Nikki's wrong, and stop stealing my Vibrant Voo. Do you know, my last order, I lost out to Talia. Talia stole my aquamarine Vibrant Voo. Just saying it. I'm pulling it out on you on that. But yeah, when Jassy first said she was bringing out Vibrant Voo, I was like, well, good luck, Jassy. I already have twill. I'm using twill. I'm not buying anymore. I don't need any more. And then you guys just saw my cupboard. So, and genuinely, like, first of all, it's the color difference, but second of all, it's what I'm making too, right? So, for anything that I really want to be, but seafoam, I know, right? For anything that I'm making that's white cleanable, am I right? Yes. Yes, Jassy, can you bring out a twill seafoam, please? No, but yeah, for Vibrant Vu especially, I love Vibrant Vu, but Nikki, you made me lose my train of thought. Now I sound like a mumbling idiot. Okay, Twill. Twill has a special place for me for anything wipe cleanable. So if I'm making anything that needs to wipe clean, there is a bag that I make. I'm not going to mention what it is because it's not, yeah, anyway, but um anything that needs wipe cleanable. So if I'm like making a water bottle bag or anything like that, I always use Twill. So first of all, the reason why I like Twill for them is Twill is a little bit more hardy than Vibrant Vu. There's a little bit more structure to it. And it wipe cleans really easily. Vibrant Vu is beautiful, but it's got a little bit more texture to it. So I feel like the texture makes it, I don't know, it's still wipe cleanable. I know because I've had to do it. Savannah's not here today, so I don't have to like stare at her while I say this. But I've had so many like fabrics that I've found that just have food on it. This is love having children, don't we? And one of the things that I've found is with Twill, it feels like it wipe cleans easier. So if I'm making like lunchbox bags, water bottle bags, makeup bags, I find customers feel like the Twill is more of a wipe clean fabric than Vibrant Vu is. If you haven't tried Luxe, I don't talk about Luxe very often because I don't use it a lot, but Luxe is another one that also is like a really beautiful wipe clean fabric. I've used Luxe for my foldable, Jesse's gonna hate me because I can't remember the name and I'm gonna say this wrong. Like all the fold and zip series, the totes and the duffel bags. They are a man. Nikki's just fighting over there. She's like, no, Vibrant Vu. I do like Vibrant Vu. Vibrant Vu has a special place, but if you are doing softer make bags, I know Nikki was messaging me yesterday about how she's thinking about, am I giving away secrets? I don't think so. Anyway, Nikki is thinking about making, I'll just say it without saying the whole thing. So she's thinking about making a bag with less structure, and it's a bag that was designed with a lot of structure in mind. So if you use Twill in that, you will love it. Use the Twill if you're not using stabilizer, and you use Twill because Twill has a little bit more structure. So for any of my bags that I don't use stabilizer in, I try to use Twill because it adds that little bit of extra something there too. Vibrant Vu is beautiful for touch and feel. Don't get me wrong. I love Vibrant Vu. I really do. I've actually started gearing myself. I do find myself using Vibrant Vu more and more, but there is a special place for Twill, and that's card slots, wipe cleanable. Like I will not, but I've not. I've done, I don't know how many travel nices I've done now. Who's counting? I don't know. 10, 11 maybe? I don't know. I won't use Vibrant Vu in it, even though it's waterproof and even though it's wipe cleanable, because I think from a consumer standpoint, if they saw it in a store and they went and touched it, they wouldn't feel like it's as wipe cleanable as, say, Twill. So, and if you get the time to talk to them, that's amazing to tell them, hey, everything is waterproof, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes they don't believe us. So whereas like with Twill, there's no arguing. It's a very obvious, by the way, this is a wipe clean fabric. So you're definitely safe if your shampoo leaks. I don't know. That's how I kind of feel. And yeah, that was a big turning point for me because stand by a water spray. Yeah, that was a huge turning point for me using the two different materials, and like it's helped me so much in all honesty. When do I use Vu and when do I use the Twill? So it's not a guarantee, but if I'm doing card slots, I try to use Twill. So if I have to use Vibrant Vu because of the color, I will, but I prefer Twill to Vibrant Vu for card slots. Let me see if I can quickly grab one. I've got one here. Everything's under my table. So if I look like I disappear, Nikki always uses Vibrant Vu. Yes, you do. I can't quite find it. But with card slots, if you've got Vibrant Vu for card slots, okay, here you go. So this is a bit of Vibrant Vu. if I use Vibrant Food for card slots, right? Like just folding that now, it kind of, because it's a drapier fabric, it still holds its fold, but it doesn't hold it as nicely. But also from an endpoint user standpoint, like it doesn't, I don't know, it shows, but it's not as clear a defined line as when it's twill. With twill and card slots, your lines are a lot more, um, yeah, your lines are a lot more defined. So I find with card slots, I almost always prefer twill. But linings, when Vibrant Vu was first brought out, I was using it only for pockets, which was a huge mistake. It's not plasticky. So the twill feels a little bit more plasticky than Vibrant Vu does. Vibrant Vu really does feel like almost like a soft weight canvas, I want to say. But you can definitely tell that it's got like so obviously I use it a lot, so I can tell the right side from the wrong side really easily. The wrong side feels a little bit more plasticky. The right side's like really smooth and beautiful. And that's how I can tell the right and wrong side. The twill does feel a bit more plasticky. Let me grab my scrap drawer. Here you go. Here you go. Oh, I'll get a smaller piece. That's my twill. So, like, that's my twill. It does feel, I don't know if plasticky is the right word, but it's I don't know. It definitely, you can still feel that it's a woven, but it is a little bit more, I guess, like almost like satin feeling. It's almost like that satin feel, but like thicker, if that makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't feel like cotton, that's for sure. Oh, no, not like Ripstop. Ripstop is slippier again, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it feels smooth, the WPC. It's a really hard one to explain. Like I don't really, yeah, but I love so in Vibrant Vu, I tend to use for bags where I want my lining to be a focus, because the Vibrant Vu is obviously, it's got like that grain, so it's a bit prettier. I'm grabbing Pandora Law again because obviously it's closest to me. But so like if I was doing a bag that had less slip pockets to show off and less ways to use like fabric, I like to use Vibrant Vu because it's prettier. Yes, twill is more slippery than Vibrant Vu. It's prettier and it looks really nice. So if I want my lining fabric to be more of a feature, I tend to go towards Vibrant Vu. If I want it as less as a feature, I go towards twill. A lot of the time it's also to do with color. It's the color matching as well, because even when I buy the exact same color, twill and Vibrant Vu, there's still a slight difference because the way the Vibrant Vu looks, it's almost like it's a couple of different colors mushed together to create that one color, whereas twill is like a solid color. So I'm making a lot of I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Anyway, yeah. So that's where I use the difference between the twill and the Vibrant Vu. I do sometimes if I'm using, but I do mix and match a lot. There we go. Nikki is making more sense than I am right now. Thank God. But yeah, I do mix and match. Like you'll see in some of my bags that I mix and match my Vibrant Vu and my twill. They're definitely, in terms of what's what, you can use one or the other and that's it. Which one's more versatile? I don't know. Nikki's going to say Vibrant Vu, but for me it's twill. If you are only going to buy one, like if you're only going to do one, I would say twill. So Vibrant Vu, I love. Like, don't get me wrong. Like if you looked at my makes recently, it's a lot of Vibrant Vu. But I like the twill because of how wipe clean it feels. If anyone saw that phone move, it's because my dog just sat on it. Honestly, try one of each. I think so too. Yeah, I would go with twill only because twill for card lining is hard to beat. Although if you watch my unboxing, there's something new coming, and I haven't tried it yet because I only unboxed it yesterday, but Jassy swears by that for card slots, so I might be changing my mind soon. But I love the twill. That twill has, like, a little bit more structure, and it's wipe cleanable. Yeah, Nikki, shh. If you use Stabilize in every single bag, then, yeah, Vibrant Vu. But what's the new one? I'm not allowed to say. It's a secret. It's where is it? What have I done with it? Let me see if it somehow makes its way onto camera. So, oh no. I did too good of a job cleaning up. Yeah. So it's a secret, and I'm not allowed to talk about it, and I'm not allowed to show it. But there's a new one coming out. That's all I'm going to show. If you missed it, too bad. It's gone now. But I haven't tried it yet. The feeling of that one is kind of, the thickness to me feels like it's in between Twill and Vibrant Vu. So it feels like it's got the structure of a little bit more structure like Vibrant Vu does, but it's not quite as thick. So I told Jassy not to bring it out because I didn't need a third lining. And she told me once you felt it, your mind would change. And I hate being wrong, but I was wrong and she was right again. That one for card slots, genuinely, I think I haven't done it yet, but by feel alone, because one of the things with Vibrant Vu is a twill. Sorry, I like twill because it's lightweight, but if you are doing 5, 6 layers of card slots, you've obviously got a lot of layers there, right? Ooh, this way. You've got a lot of layers there. And then you add on a vinyl exterior and maybe a Vibrant Vu lining. And then you've got Jassy's saying, I didn't get that for card slots though. It's a new pattern. There is a new pattern coming. I'm super excited. And I'm not talking about that one. I am not. Yep. No, I'm going to keep that completely under zip. Yep, that's a zip. But that new material, it is definitely thinner. So I'm really excited to try it. I can't believe this is what Jassy does to me. Seriously, she is spending all my money. I'm like, oh, what are you doing to me? I get drawn into anything pretty. And so I was like, I'm not going to get drawn into supplies. It's just plain color fabric. Like, yeah, it's pretty colors, but it's plain. And then here I am like, oh, Holly, you say that now. Jassy has been pre-warning us that this new pattern that Jassy just talked about, that she literally bought this fabric in for. So this is a pattern we've been talking about for a while. Jassy's been working on this pattern for a while. And every time she brings it up, she tells me that I'm going to hate myself when I have to film it. So I've been trying to upgrade my video equipment and everything because what I know is that I'm going to need space. And if you can see around me, space is not my friend. So I've been having to upgrade all of my everything that I can to try and find more space. Anyway, dude, okay, I'm talking too much. Less talking. Oh, but I'm super excited. So one thing that people don't realize, so with the pattern releases, some of them Jassy has been working on for ages. I've been asking for that pattern. I have been. It is my fault. So we're in the process of testing patterns right now. That's what I should be doing right now. I should be testing the new test. I am not, because my brain's not in it. One of the things that I give myself some break from is testing when my brain's not 100%, because one of the biggest things with testing is that I feel bad you're not getting much sewing done. I know, right? It's probably more than I should be doing today because I am not in a, in case my talking isn't obvious, my brain is not there today. I'm literally blah blah. It's wet and rainy and yuck here today where we are. And whenever the weather's like this, my brain doesn't work. So I needed to do something where I feel like I'm still being productive. And so I thought, like, if I'm talking while I'm sewing and there's actually somewhat of people here, then maybe I'm not a crazy person, right? Like, I'm talking to myself, but I'm not because you guys are here. Yay! Oh, but yeah, next week is going to be a fun one for me. So I've got the test for the new pattern. I'm super excited. That one's going to be fun. I've been pulling some fabrics out to play with. It's super classy. I'm not going to give too much away. It's classy and it's going to be really fun. It's really in style. When Jassy first told me, I don't feel like I'm in fashion anymore. I don't keep up anymore since becoming a mum. But as soon as Jassy told me what style it was, I went Googling it and I'm like, oh, okay. So who knows? Maybe I'll have a new bag. No, I won't. I love my bell. I carry around a bell. For those of you who don't know, a sophisticated bell. That's my day-to-day bag, and I find it hard to beat. I love it. But I thought maybe by now I would have changed to a B hip, but it still hasn't happened. So I'm still on my bell. But I might be close to changing over to a B hip. I went to the park yesterday with the kids and I left my B hip in the car because not my B hip, sorry, my bell in the car because I was like, oh no, I can't be bothered carrying. I just want to be hands-free. And if I had a B hip, I would have been hands-free. I know a bell is a crossbody, but like sometimes you just want something like completely smaller and I don't know. I am rambling again. But yeah, so I'm trying not to stop it. You guys are trying to make me give away secrets, and I am not good with secrets. I am not a good secret keeper. See, like don't listen to me. Like Jassy's gonna like say no more on air time if I keep giving away secrets. But yeah, one of the things that people don't realize is how long these patterns take to do up. I'm trying so hard. Jassy literally spends like months on these patterns before it comes to us testers. And then so when I'm testing a pattern, I know how much work has gone into it and I know how much blood and sweat it's poured into it. So I don't want to test it unless my brain is actually switched on and working, because I can make a bag from the instructions and just follow it through and miss any mistakes if I'm not paying attention. And honestly, some mistakes are so silly. Like the other day, I can't remember what it was that I was doing. I was doing something. I was making something and I was reading it. I'm like, this isn't right. Like there's something here that's not right. And it was a very simple mistake. And it's a bag that's been out for ages, a pattern that's been out for ages. And for whatever reason, I don't know how many testers they had in their testing team at the time, but no one picked it up. And it was a pretty big mistake. And I know sometimes I do things differently to others. And that's probably why I've picked up on a mistake that no one else has. But because I am a tester now, I felt comfortable enough going back to that designer and being like, I'm not that designer's tester, but I felt comfortable enough going back to that designer and saying, hey, I've just noticed this. I think it might be a mistake. But if I wasn't a tester and if I was just a normal consumer, I might just have written that designer off and been like, do you know what? I'm not buying your patterns anymore because you make stupid mistakes like that. And that's not fair because we all do things differently, right? One thing that I know for sure, I'm one of the few people who do when we cut patterns. So I know a lot of people cut from pattern pieces or SVG or templates. I use the cutlass. And so if the cutlass is even slightly wrong, I'm done. Like my pattern doesn't work. And I know I'm in a minority, but that's how I pick up on some weird things. And so like, yeah, I don't know. So if I'm not 100% switched on, I won't test a pattern because yeah, those little mistakes can cost someone their livelihood. Like, I mean, I guess maybe not like if you lose one or two customers, maybe it's not a livelihood, but Like, this is literally all Jassy does. Like, she's a full-time pattern designer that supports her and her family. So yeah, like maybe I take it seriously, like more serious than I should, but yeah, that's why I'm happy doing this mind-numbing sewing right now. I don't know if you guys see me do that. I do a lot of hand cranking. For someone who says like I try to be productive and whatnot, I do a lot of hand cranking because I've said before, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So, and as part of my perfectionism is that I can't handle over sewing. So even though I'm quite confident with how my machine works now, I hand crank a lot. Not more than you should. Oh, yay. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see this little thing. This is a fun little thing with my machine. My machine's a knee lever machine. So instead of like a foot pedal that most machines have, mine is controlled by, it's not actually your knee, it's your thigh. So yeah, this little guy here. It has this little thing here. So every time you see this move, it's because I am putting pressure against it. And when I put pressure against it, that's how my machine moves. So one of the things that I love about it is my feet's free to do whatever it does, which is great for me because in case it's not been obvious yet, I am easily distractible. I need a lot. I move a lot. And so the knee level machine lever machine works really well for me because my feet are free. But the problem with it is it doesn't stop. So when I stop sewing, this is something that a few people have asked me about vintage machines. When I stop sewing, so when I take pressure off, the machine doesn't automatically stop straight away. There is like a time delay. Jassy has bought a vintage machine after she saw mine because my machine's amazing. And that was one thing that takes time to learn is how long am I holding it down for before I let go so that I'm... Yeah, I know. I know I've gone off on a tangent. No one else here has a vintage apart from me and Nikki, and I guess Jassy. But yeah, so I hand crank a lot. I know for productivity that seems silly, but it actually makes it better for me because there's less mistakes that I'm correcting. So right now I'm actually finishing off these pouches. So I'm literally just sewing around to finish these off. These pouches are, I say I'm finishing them off. I'm not. Oh, what? No base and no belt. Oh my God. I've been very lucky with my vintages. This one I picked up. So like I said before, when I first started sewing, I had a 1970s Singer. So it's one of the machines where they just started doing plastic. And I think from what I've understood of vintage machines, that was the turning point. So when the machine started going to plastic, that's when the domestic stopped being as strong. So anyway, I had that, and I tried sewing a few vinyl bags, and I was really struggling with it, and I just couldn't get it to work. It was the thicknesses and everything. And I didn't want to go out and buy an industrial because obviously an industrial is like a couple of $1,000s. They're like, I think, starting from $3,000 here in Australia. And at that point, I had been sewing for like 3 bags, maybe. So I was like, I'm not going out and buying a $3,000 machine for something that at this point, I don't even know if it's a hobby that I like at all. Well, not at all, but like, yeah. And so I did a little look around, and a few people kept saying Singer 201, Singer 201, Singer 201. And I hopped onto Marketplace, and there was this Singer 201 for sale, like half an hour, not 15-minute drive from me. And so I jumped on to ask them about it. I was like, does it work? Da, da, da. And it was, look, honestly, I don't know. It was in the house when we bought it. We've not touched it. I don't know. And I thought about it for ages, and it was $100. And I was like, oh, for $100, I'll buy it. I'll take it to a sewing machine service person because I didn't know anything. And maybe they could tell me something. So I literally bought it, and I took it straight to the sewing machine man. Hadn't even tried anything, and he looked at it and went, "Why are you bringing this thing to me? It's fine. It's perfectly fine." And I was like, "Oh, when do I need to come back?" "Oh, you don't need to. If it stops working, bring it back. But machines like this won't, like, they don't die." So I was like, "Okay, cool." And I took it home, and then when I got home, oh yeah, when I went to pick it up, this is when I went to pick it up, and I'm at this person's garage. I was like, "Oh, where's the foot pedal?" "Oh, we don't know. We don't think it comes with one." Does it work then?" I don't know. You can try and plug it into a PowerPoint." So I plugged it into a PowerPoint and the light bulb came on. So I was like, well, if a light bulb comes on, it means it works, right? Nikki's going to laugh at this because I've recently found out that the light is actually completely different anyway. So so I bought it, took it home at this point thinking I would have to go online to buy a foot pedal. When I got home, I opened up the box, and inside the box there was this thing. And I'm like, why is there a random metal pole inside my, like, what is this for? And there's a hole in the front of my machine. And weirdly, that pole fits in there perfectly. So I shoved it in there, and sure enough, it works. And yeah. So I was really lucky with this. I know that I see a lot of people, especially over in the US, you guys are buying vintage machines and have to like replace the whole thing. I've got two 201s now. So this one's a 201K. So it's made in Scotland. That's what the K stands for. I've got a 201P. So P for Penrith in Australia. Yay. So I bought my 201P purely because it was made in Australia. And actually, I don't know if I want to tell this. This is embarrassing. So this is about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago today, maybe a month off. This machine, my beautiful girl, started struggling. So I couldn't top stitch. It was getting to the point where if it was more than 4 layers, so 2 layers of vinyl and 2 layers of lining, so literally exterior lining, it wouldn't do it. Like I had to hand crank. I changed needles and I'm hand cranking and it's not working. And it was just around the Christmas rush. So I had heaps of custom makes at the time. And it was just as the Travelnizer was getting really popular for me. So I was making a billion well, not a billion, but I was making a lot of Travelnizers. And suddenly it wouldn't work. And I was like freaking out because I'm like, what am I going to do? So I quickly went out and I bought the 201P. I found that online. It was beautiful condition. Turns out the guy who bought it was an electrician. So he even like restored the wiring and stuff. So that's all good. Buy it. And then who was I talking to? I can't remember if it was Nikki or Jassy. And one of them said, when was the last time you oiled your machine? I was like, what my machine? Yeah, Nikki. It's like, what my machine? And she said, oil. And I'm like, well, isn't that what the serviceman does? And he said, I don't need to get it serviced. He said, maybe do it once every 2 years. So I figured that he would oil it in 2 years, but it's only been 9 months. So I had 9 months sewing daily with my machine and not oiled it once. Oh, Holly, oil your machines. So that was a thing that I learned. Apparently, we need to oil our machines. So I genuinely thought that was something that you just do. When you take your machine to a service repairman, is that they will oil your machine and you don't have to do anything. But luckily, I've recently joined the Brimax group. For those of you who don't know, they are a template company in Australia, and there's a lady in the group, Tanya. She's also got a beautiful vintage machine. I don't know if it's a 201 as well, but she's got a beautiful vintage machine. Hers is shiny and new and super pretty, whereas mine's like, hello, I've been used. But anyway, And every month she posts up, "Don't forget to oil and clean your machines." So hers is now my reminder to oil and clean my machine because I am so bad at remembering to do it. And I probably should do it more than every month. I think at one point I saw someone say something about like if you should be cleaning your machine in between every project. Oh, there you go. And Nikki's saying I should be oiling it weekly. I I should oil Holly. I should be oiling it weekly. I probably should. I get it. I think the hardest thing for me is because I forget to do things and I seem to always be in a hurry. I don't know why. I'm always in a hurry to do stuff. But I need to start oiling at night because I feel like maybe this is a me thing, but I don't like to oil and then sew. I feel like the oil might get onto the fabric. I don't know. Maybe it's like me not understanding machines. Me going live is a bad idea. I'm showing you guys how unexperienced I am and how little I actually know. Um, so I like to oil and let it sit and then sew the next day. Like I put a little oiling cloth underneath and yeah, let it sit. Not oiling cloth, a microfiber cloth. Yeah. Um, and normally at the same time, I try to give my machine a nice little clean. And so, like, this isn't for me oiling a machine as much as it is like a 2-minute job. It's not a 2-minute job for me. It ends up being like, I don't know, like a half an hour job. And genuinely, a lot of it, I think, is due to just my personality because once I start oiling, I want to clean. And once I clean, I can't just clean. That's why I live in constant mess. When I clean, I clean. Like I Marie Kondo clean. Am I saying her name right? Like I will go and like I cleaned our wardrobes the other day and I Marie Kondo folded all of our clothes because that's just you if you come to my house, it's either baskets of clothes everywhere, clean clothes, but in baskets, or they're Marie Kondo folded beautifully and in the cupboards. There is no in between for me. I am extremes. Uh-oh. We we got we've gotten Holly onto looking for a 2012 now. Sorry, if we suddenly caused a spike in the 201 market, that's my fault. I will claim that. Actually, I will happily claim that. This is genuinely the best machine. Like I said, like when I bought this, I wasn't sure. I thought I was going to save up for an industrial when I was ready, and if that was the case. And genuinely, right now, I don't know if I'm ever going to upgrade to an industrial. I love my little 201. One thing that I'm worried about with a one thing that I'm worried about with the industrials, and like if whoever has an industrial wants to tell this to me, feel free to. I'm worried about the speed. Like I get, like obviously, like the whole point of me doing this production making is to speed it up so that I'm saving time. But at the same time, like I'm worried about, yeah, I'm worried about speed. Like if it's too fast, because one of the things I know in my tutorials I speed up my sewing time a lot, but if you pay attention to how I'm sewing around corners, I do take it quite slow. I do, but apparently according to Nikki, I'm not slow. She's seen some of my real-time footage. She's like, that's not slow. Anyway, to me, it's slow. I take it quite slow and I do it like almost needle by needle because I like to take my time to get it perfect. And I'm worried with an industrial, if it's too fast, would I then not be able to, would I not then be able to do it like that? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. I am a chronic overthinker. Yeah. So it could genuinely just be me overthinking, and there is absolutely nothing wrong. And I could still control the speed, but I love my little girl. There's a machine that I've been staring at on Facebook Marketplace. I don't want to tell you guys about it because in case there's someone else that's near me and tries to steal it from underneath me, but it's a vintage Singer and it is Nikki, help me. What's it called? What type of machine is that called? I thought you went to pick it up. I haven't yet. We can go stitch by stitch on industrial. Oh, you can. Maybe. I don't know. I love my 201. I love my vintage, but there's one on the market. It is a vintage, so it's still a vintage Singer, and it is a one of those machines where it's not walking foot. I'm gonna pull my phone out. This is really rude of me. What's it called? Yeah, but there's this machine that I've been staring at for ages, and I think it's cylinder arm. Thank you. Just leave me here. And she is still there. I don't want to show you. No, I don't want to show you guys. But there's this cylinder arm vintage Singer that's still here today. Like, that's still online. It's been on there for, I don't know. It's been there for at least a month. I've been looking at it. So they probably would drop the price even more. But sorry, was turning a pouch. Stop turning pouches. Talk to me. Go get it. But it was $1,000. It's now dropped down to $750. So she's still pricey, but it's a cylinder arm, which is genuine. The only thing that I don't love about this girl is the base. I've seen someone like take it out of the wooden case and put like a book under on this side, so then you can kind of use this bit as like a wider cylinder arm bit. Offer 500. I'm really bad at negotiating. I am the worst negotiator. Like, I go to Bali. For those in the US, this isn't a flex. I know in the US and the UK, going to Bali is like a rich thing. In Australia, it's like, we're just going to Bali. When I go to Bali, I literally go into stores and I say, I'm not going to negotiate. Give me a price. And if it's right, I'll buy it. If it's not, I won't. Because I hate bargaining. I am the worst bargainer. Literally, I walk. I'm so bad at bargaining. I hate it. I just can't do it. But the biggest worry, it looks like going to Mexico. Yeah, it is. It's like you guys going to Mexico or the Caribbean. I would love to go to Mexico or the Caribbean, but that's expensive for me. But yeah, I've been wanting to buy that machine for so long. And it's just, the big worry I've got is because it is an industrial vintage. So obviously, like, these vintage are heavy in there, whatever, but it fits on a table. Industrial vintages, like, I'm going to have to, I don't even know where I can find the space. And I'm worried, like, industrial's obviously stronger. Like, what happens if the kids get to it? Not necessarily. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. I do overthink a lot. I am a chronic thinker. I think too much and do too little. So, but I don't know. One day I will get it. You are. Go get out. That's my pouches falling on me. So one day I will probably, maybe if he drops his price a little bit more, or if he was closer, like, in all honesty. So this guy's down in Sydney. So he's like an hour, maybe hour, 15-minute drive from me. If he was like within a 15, 20-minute drive from me, I would have been like, yeah, I'm there, bought it. But because he's just that far enough that unless it's a massive, massive deal, I'm not going out of my way, because $750, even if it's $500, I'm like, $500 and you want me to drive 3 hours return with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old in the car? Yeah, that's not happening. And really, a whole hour. It is. It's far. And it's an hour on the highway. Like, I'm not just talking an hour in like suburban streets. It'll be, I don't know how long the highway drive is. Probably, like, for us down to Sydney, it's like 30 minutes on the highway. Maybe I just live close to the city, okay? Nikki over here is from Florida. She's completely fine. She managed to escape the hurricane. She's safe. But yeah, she lives literally, the only thing she is close to, I am like putting her in it now. The only thing she's close to is Disney World, and she complains about it. Yeah. If I lived within like an hour of Disney World, I would be there literally daily. Okay, so she is an hour away from Disney World. Okay, fine. Maybe you're not as close. I don't complain. No, you don't. Do you know how far away I am from Disney World? Like, do you? Oh, I'm so jealous. Do you know what makes it even worse? My biggest clientele at the moment are, I'm not complaining. I'm lucky that I can say the word biggest clientele. My biggest clientele at the moment are people that are about to go to Disney, wherever. I have 2 bags at the moment. I shouldn't say 2 bags. 2 different clients at the moment that are going to Tokyo Disney as we speak. They're on the plane now, and I cannot be more jealous because I keep getting people going, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to Disney, blah, blah, blah. Can I get that in time?" Like, if you pack me, you can. What year is my machine? She is a 1943. No, 53. 1953. Sorry, had to think about that for a second. I remember her year, or I remember it that way, because when I bought it, I came home. My mum lives with us. And when I bought it, I came home and I specifically went up to my mum and I said, "Guess what? My sewing machine's even older than you." I'm a horrible daughter. Anyway, she thought it was funny. Ah, this Duffy Bear is only available at Tokyo Disney. That's true. Duffy Bear is adorable. Hong Kong has one too. Isn't Duffy in Hong Kong too? Hong Kong Disney has like a bunny version, which is super cute. Can I see the front? Yes. Let me. It's probably easier for me to move the machine than it is for me to move the camera at this point, to be honest. So, watch as things fall. Here we go. There we go. So this is my girl here. Oh, wait, maybe I do have to move this a little bit. Which way am I going? This way? No, this way. There we go. So this is the front of my machine. So mine, I don't know how well you can see that. So normally you would have gold lettering here, which shows you the stitch length. I don't. I know I can get a new plate or I can recolor it. I've not been bothered because I couldn't be, yeah. But if you are looking at a vintage machine online, they should have a number on the plate. So you can't quite see it here, but in front of this little spoolie thing, I guess, there's a little plate here with a serial number. There is it Ismat? Ismat, singer Ismat. ISMA, or Ismax maybe. ISMACCS. Google singer ISMACCS. And that will come up with a database of all the singer machines and their serial numbers. So you can use your serial number to then find out the year, the model, and how many were made. I don't care so much about how many were made because I'm not buying these as like display pieces. I'm buying these as like to use. So obviously, like there are people out there like collectors that will brag on about how only 25 were made in this batch. Oh, there's my postie. I have a parcel. Oh, that doesn't look like Padfoot. Shh. Sorry, that's my dog. Padfoot, come here. Come here. Here's Padfoot. You say hello. Oh, okay, Padfoot, you're about to step on my machine. Go away. Padfoot. He's excited because it's rainy and he's not allowed out. Okay, on Marketplace, found a few, but not sure which one to get. To me, it was based off location. I'm not going to lie. There are sometimes shiny doesn't necessarily mean the best for me here in Australia anyway. When I was looking at this one, there was a couple that were closer to me that were a little bit more expensive. So I think for us around here, most of the 201s are I've seen between $50 to $200. Anything more than 150, I wouldn't even look at for myself because most of those are then geared either towards, from what I've seen anyway, geared towards collectors. So they're prettier and just in time to see Padfoot. Padfoot's a cutie. They're geared towards the investors. You'll find that they're shinier, they're prettier, but I don't know. I don't know that much about vintages. I'm making it sound like I know a lot. I don't. So I've been yeah, I try to look at the price to work out, and yeah, cracked or frayed, you'll need to rewire it. Yeah. So I'm trying to look more for like, yeah, the important things. So yeah, the wiring, um, people who know what they're doing and they're selling them would normally show you the serial number or will happily send you the serial number. So if they don't send you the serial number, it either means that they have no idea what they're doing and you might have to worry about it a little bit more. Yeah. So quickly show you guys this bit because I guess I was kind of showing you this. So these are the pouches pretty much done. So you could turn it now. But one thing that I learned with these little pouches, so there's no lining, as you can see, it's just vinyl and then zipper. I'm going to do a second row of stitching within. I only use a 1/8 seam allowance on these. I use tiny seam allowance, more than 1/8. It's somewhere in between a 1/8 and a quarter. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to do an extra little line just along these edges here where the zipper tape is, mainly because I want to hold in that zipper tape. That's something that I've found. Zipper tapes, sometimes when you just sew that one line, it's not enough because it's a pressure point. So that's something that I say with my production pouches, or actually a lot of my production mates, where I'm doing it super quickly, I try to reinforce those little lines, because the last thing you need is for a customer to come back and be like, hey, your bag broke on me. Especially nowadays, I feel like there's so many more of us that would rather take a broken something than go back and complain. I don't know, maybe, like, I think Karen culture has scared people and you don't want someone to not complain. Card holder is, oh my God, yes. I have not made a single card holder that wasn't using scraps. So all of my card holders that I've made so far have been using scraps only. So, and I've sold a lot of card holders. They're a really great one. I'm going to try and do, maybe I'll try and do the card holder next week. Can I be on next week? I think I can, because the card holder, I have a little tip for the card slots on it. It's not really that big of a tip, but there is something that I do for the card slots for it. So maybe I'll try and do that next week if you guys wanted to come back and watch me sew again. Oh, Nikki's cut 4 card holders today. Well, if they're still work in progresses next week, maybe you can sew them with me. But yeah, the card holders, I'm not here to advertise, like I said before, but I've got the card holders. For any of you who don't have the card holder pattern that we're talking about at the moment, the card holder pattern by Sophisticated Craft Designs, you can purchase it on their website, or secrets, you can join their Facebook group. So it's the Sophisticated Craft Designs Facebook page, and you can get a code to get it for free. Their templates. So this is one of the templates for the card holder, and I have this out permanently on my cutting desk, not because bad for tail sliding. Not because I'm making that many card holders, but because this corner is weirdly the exact right corner for so many patterns. And I'm not just talking sophisticated patterns. Like, there is a pattern that I do quite regularly. It's one of my biggest sellers at the moment, I think. And weirdly enough, that is exactly this corner. And so I have been using this corner for a lot of my patterns. So if you can't afford to, or don't want to completely invest in templates yet, and you only want to get one template, get the card holder template. It's a cheap template because there's not many pieces. And the other thing it has is obviously a card slot piece as well. So get the card holder template. That is, yeah, that's a massive one for me. I've saved so much time. I am trying to slowly move over to more templates. Some of you know, Brymax does all the templates of Sophisticated Craft over here. That's a big card template. The card slot template. Let me see if I can quickly grab it. Ooh. These are how I'm storing my templates at the moment. It's not the best. So this is the card slot template for, the card slot template for the card holder. I do use this a bit, but that's because I don't use this as much, only because I also have the peony. So maybe I should revise that. If you can only afford 2 templates, get the card holder and get the peony, because the next template that I use the most is this guy. Oh, I don't know how to show it to you guys so you guys can actually see it. That's my face. This is the card slot template. You can see I've got like scratches on it because I use it so often. But anytime I make, so the peony, if you haven't made the sophisticated peony yet, the peony comes with a card slot attachment. That was a newer one that was released, but I think it's all in the original pattern now. So you don't have to download extra things, but it has 3 card slots. So I don't know if I should be admitting to this. So when I make the bee hip now, and what else was it that I made? No, I think it was the bee hip that I made recently. I used this template. So this is a different measurement. The top bit's a different measurement, but I then use this template to then use the markings on it to mark all of my fold lines. So yeah, so if you can't afford a billion templates right now, get the peony and get the card holder. It's genuinely, it's saving so much of my time. So if you're in Australia, Brimax has them both. In the US, we've got ARC as well. I'm saying that right? ARC. So ARC has them in the US. Brimax has them in Australia. Brimax does send worldwide as well. I got Brimax to send one to the UK for me. To, what am I doing? I'm trying to find the start of my line. ARC Expressions, there we go. Yep. So Brimax does send to the UK as well, because I got her to send Milena. The lighting on this keeps changing. I swear it's not me. Milena from the UK one. And she sent that for me. And postage was, it's not sophisticated supplies fast because, I mean, I think UPS is pretty hard to beat at the moment, but it was still really quick. I think it only took like a week or 2 from when Binny got it finished to being delivered in the UK. So yeah, definitely worth having a look at as well. I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, I'm doing all the edges. See, I am so scatterbrained today. So I don't know how you guys are staying with me. Like, I feel like who's still here? Like, Jassie's still here, Holly's still here, Nikki. You guys have been here with me the whole day. I can't tell if Talia's been here nonstop and just like hello once in a while or not. But yeah, I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I'm making sense anymore. Why are you guys listening to me? But it's because every once in a while I'm not a crazy person. I just realized my screen, I just wish we were all on the video together. Me too. Why don't you jump on? Can you jump on? Is that a possibility? That would be so much fun. Can we do that? Is that something that we could organize, that we could all sew together? I would love that. Do you know, when we're testing, not today, when we're testing, Nikki and I would literally spend like 3-4 hours messaging each other because we're both horrible at choosing fabrics. She actually designed Talia's got me playing on nonstop, but she's got walking customers. Yay. But Nikki and I will spend 3-4 hours together messaging, trying to color choose. Nikki, I think, did you design my Pandora Allure? I think you designed my Lion King Pandora Allure. So we might be like half a world away, but she designed this one. So this one was all Nikki, I'm pretty sure. She chose all my colors for me because I was, again, having a mental break. And yeah. So that was all Nikki. Yeah. I do need to choose colors again soon, so that would be fun. And yeah, have I already said? Yeah, we're testing a new pattern over at Sophisticated Craft. That one's going to be coming out really soon. I'm super excited. Actually, I'm an excitable person, in case that's not obvious yet. So I've just reinforced that one side. So now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to reinforce the second side. And Holly wasn't wrong. This is like the slowest it's taken me to sew these pouches ever. But at least I'm getting something done. And it's taking my mind off. I have to go to the dentist later. Like, I don't like the dentist. Why are there adult responsibilities? Yeah, so I'm just doing the other side. I've mentioned this in, was it my sew along for the travel dizer that I mentioned this? I mean, I've been doing this all day, so if you guys haven't noticed it, this is on you. But I do this where I literally just go the next pouch, the next thing, and I keep putting it through. And the reason being, it's saving thread. It's saving me so much time because I'm not pulling it out. I feel like surely this is something everyone does, right? Like this isn't a new tip. So, but this is one of my biggest time savers when it comes to bulk sewing, is just kind of sewing consistently and just doing that line. Now, after this line is done, it is actually my least favorite thing to do, and that's birthing these. So I am not going to bore you guys with birthing these. I'm going to keep sewing because, not because my birthing is boring, it is, and I suck at it and I hate it, but because if I have these pouches ready for birthing by bedtime tonight and the kids go to bed, I can then go and watch Prison Break. I've just started it. Don't ruin it for me. Yeah, so I will have this and I can sit on the couch and I can slowly trim off my yucky bits and whatever. But I will show you guys anyway, because I know this isn't a pattern, but in case any of you were following along for this little pouchy thing. Hey, I forgot to sew this one. This one I missed one line. Yay. That's the problem with not paying attention when you're doing these bulk sews, right? Okay. So before I turn these little guys, what I do is obviously like trim off my corners. So trim those corners off. And then because this is a no lining little pouch, I try to always trim off as much of the edges that stick out so that it just looks like a nice little clean white surface. And obviously the zipper tape. And I say this in all of my videos. So if you haven't watched my other videos, that's on you, not on me. No. But as soon as you cut that zipper tape, make sure you get a lighter. Oh, where's my lighter? I have too much stuff over here. Yeah, make sure you get a lighter and just quickly singe those bits there. While I was making, one tip, if you are making these and you're bulk making them and you're turning them and you're lightering them, don't do more than 50 at a go. When I was preparing for Supernova, I had one night where I might have had, I think like 60 odd, 70, I don't know, maybe even more than that I took upstairs to birth and burn the threads and all of that. And I gave myself RSI on my thumb. Like seriously, for a week afterwards, I couldn't do that motion because I use that lighter so often. I have since bought, this is one of my charms. I never showed that one on any of the groups, but this is a charm that I made for myself. It's got little stitch everywhere. This is my pouch for going upstairs. So this is the "you're coming upstairs to be birthed tonight" bag. But yeah, I gave myself RSI from using the lighter too much. So that's something to be wary of. I've since bought, I think I've shown it to some of you guys on some of my videos, these little things. So this is my double arch. I think my single arch is somewhere being charged right now, but it's those double arch lighters. Oh, I need to charge this one. But these are great if you're doing bulk, but I still find that I like the lighter. I don't know, maybe it's, yeah. But I definitely use these a lot when I'm sewing. So even in Australia on Amazon, we can get them. So they're double arch. I think it's, what's it called? Like double arch electric lighter. So they're amazing, especially if you are doing 90-degree angles on zipper tape. Jen from, I'm going to say her channel wrong. Is it Homology? She has a video on her YouTube channel where she uses one of those double arches to do the 90-degree zipper tapes. And it's, yeah, that's what convinced me to buy it because it's so easy. It's literally like a quick little zap and then, yeah, it's amazing. I don't know if I'm going to have enough of this Christmas zipper tape. There you go. Nikki's typed it. Jen's homemadeology. Don't make me say that again. Do you know that there are times where I curse Jassy out for some of the pattern names she comes up with? There's a name, the pattern that we're testing right now. We threw out, when she first threw out names, I was like, nope, can't do that. I can't say that on camera. Nope. Here we go. Homemadeology. There we go. Jen's homemadeology. There we go. I can say it. The problem is, and I'm going through this right now with Kian, and I know it's an Australian thing. I know we talk really quick, but because I talk so quick, sometimes I don't enunciate. And I've just noticed like my 4-year-old is doing that now. And I've just had one of his playgroup educators say to me, maybe we need to look into a speech pathologist because he isn't saying f, so the F sound, and s. So like if he was to say the fireman saved somebody, it would turn up as the fireman saved somebody. I don't know. But like it's like you can understand him, but it's not clear. But to me, I'm like, he's 4. Surely that's normal. But we've started recently with him, getting him to slow down when he's talking. And I've realized that's what I need to do. I talk too fast. Sorry, that was zippers trying to collapse on me. I talk too fast, and then so I don't enunciate my words, and then I sound like I can't talk, which, I mean, in all fairness, probably isn't far from the truth. Let's be fair, right? It's not fun. It's not fun sometimes, but yeah. So I'm trying to enunciate more, and I'm trying to talk more. Not talk more. I need to talk less. That's actually, so how you guys see me right now, genuinely, like when I am filming tutorials, this is what I want to be doing the whole time. And if you watched the first tutorial I did, I think is the peony. Yeah, I'm just trying to speak as fast as your brain thinks. Seriously, my brain doesn't shut off. Like, has anyone watched that Simpsons episode where like they show Homer like, what are you thinking? And it's dun, 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 dun. Genuinely, my brain is doing that most of the time. Well, not most of the time, but there is always something happening in my brain. Charlie, my partner, doesn't believe me because, like, you know how like we ask our partners, hey, what are you thinking about? And he's like, nothing. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? Like that? No, you have to be thinking about like what do you mean? There's always something on your brain, right? Apparently not. So if you are one of those lucky people where you can literally have nothing happening and you're not thinking about something and there's no sound, there's no anything happening, I don't understand it. Probably just as equally as how Charlie can't understand why I always have something happening in my brain. Like my brain does not shut off. Yeah, it's incomprehensible, right? Like there's always some noise, something happening in your brain, right? Anyway. But yeah, it's why sewing has helped me so much, to be honest, because it gives me something to focus it on. So at least I'm thinking about something that's helpful. Is it helpful? I don't know. It's fun, at least. Fun when I'm not seam ripping. On that note, have you guys, my last few videos, I've talked about the curse of the seam ripper. You know how I've not seam ripped anything yet? Touch wood, now that I've said seam ripper that many times. It's because it's right here. Seriously, try it out. The closer your seam ripper is to your sewing machine, the less you're going to seam rip. That's my biggest tip you can take home from today, is have your seam ripper next to your sewing machine and you will never seam rip. Not never, but yeah. It's whenever you can't find your seam ripper, that's when you're going to seam rip everything. Or whenever you're in a hurry. Yep. If you're in a hurry, just give up. That bag's done. I just had to use mine. It's next to my machine. Oh, Nikki, you're ruining my story. Mine's a true real story curse. I was going to turn it into an urban legend. You're ruining it for me. Do you know what I've just lost? I was bragging to Nikki and Jassy the other day because I've been talking about I always use my pokey stick. I don't know where my pokey stick is at the moment, and I'm not going to be able to find it because Kian, my 4-year-old, isn't here. He's the only one who can find my pokey stick. But I finally bought a hemostat, and I was like, oh, maybe I can use it right now. No, I can't because I don't know where it is. Story of my life. Nothing is ever here. Or is it just the story of a sewer's life? Nothing is ever here. Oh, I don't know. Feel like it's never ending. Oh, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just sewing. But yeah, what else do I wanted to talk about? I don't know. Do you guys have any questions for me? I feel like it's just Nikki and me here now. Maybe I should be letting this go to a natural conclusion soon. I do have to go to the dentist, which means like I probably have a 20-minute window to still have another coffee and brush my teeth in time. Because I can't, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I just know the minute I turn this off, that's it. I'm not sewing anymore. So I'm using you guys to boost my productivity at the moment, as bad as my productivity might seem. So, but this is, for those of you who wonder what it's like for someone who stays at home and sews bags, this is genuinely a first look into what my life looks like as I'm sewing. I will say the one thing that I've not been doing as much is singing. I think because you guys are here, I'm just not singing as much. Ooh, Jassy is packing orders. Ooh, and drafting it. You guys can see all the comments too, right? So Jassy's just said that she's packing orders and drafting the next pattern. So, and I already said we're testing a pattern already right now. So I think, see, watch me and you get all of the secrets and all of the hints. So that means there's another one coming soon. So the one that we're testing is super fun. And then once that's out, I guess that means there's another one. So I think this is going to be fun. Just a little insight, because I know there's been a lot of talk lately on like social media about like testing and things like that. What people don't realize how much goes into the background and how much goes into it. But like because I talk to Jassy quite regularly, the amount of time and materials that she spends on a pattern is actually insane. Like right now we're on the last day of pattern launch for the Zaria charm, and Jassy hasn't slept. Well, she'll tell you she slept, but she's not slept in like a week. And I know this because she is 3 hours behind me, I think, at the moment in time zones. So I would go to sleep at like 10 o'clock my time. And I'm normally awake at like 6 a.m. my time. And I will get messages in from her still at like midnight, 1 a.m. my time. And when I wake up at like 5:36 my time, she's already up and working. So yeah, she's up at like 4. It's crazy. And all of that time is literally her drafting and doing work behind the scenes and like things like that. And sometimes I don't think she gets enough credit. Like I don't think people realize how much actually goes into these patterns sometimes. I've finished this bit. Didn't realize. But it's super impressive. It's actually crazy. She is a workaholic. It is actually crazy how much time and effort goes in. As much as people are like, oh, how hard could it be? It's hard. And something that people don't realize with Jassie's patterns, at least, I've noticed it with some patterns, non-sophisticated patterns, but like I talked about the laptop pattern earlier, the laptop bag is a 13.3 inch. There's a 13.3 inch size and a 16-inch size, and they are actually completely different patterns. So it's not a I'll just enlarge it to 120% or whatever, because every single one of Jassie's patterns, and that's one of the reasons why her gussets are always such a perfect fit, is because it's literally every single one is drafted to be that size. It's not just a simple, oh, I'll just change the like 100%, 120% or print it at a different percent or whatever. It's literally drafted to be a separate pattern. So it may look the same, but the different sizes means that she's actually separately drafted a separate pattern. And it isn't any time saving. It's not like, it still takes her just as much time to do a pattern slightly smaller as it would, because she's literally drafted a new pattern. But anyway, that's me talking there. I have a lot of love for Jassie, in case it's not obvious. I've said this a lot of times, and I'll continue saying it. Like, Jassie is the person who taught me how to sew. I think Nikki was the same. Well, Jassie maybe not so much with Nikki as with me, but like the fold and zip backpack was the third bag I ever made. So, and I know it was similar for Nikki and similar for Jen as well. Like, we all very early on tried to make a fold and zip backpack. And I literally went from someone, like I said before, I literally learned what stay stitch is like a week ago. Like, I am not a talented sewist that's been sewing for years. So everything I've learned has been because of Jassie. She's in her patterns, you can tell, but she's just an incredible giving spirit who loves to share knowledge. And that's one of the things that like really drew me into her patterns. I know some people are like, oh, sometimes the patterns might seem long, but there's a reason for it. It's because she's got so much tips and hints and wisdoms in there. If you haven't done the Zaria charm yet, genuinely, like, my mind was blown by the boxing step, because I've done so many box corners. I don't even know how many box corners I've done, and that one step in there, like, changed my mind. Like, I no idea, and like, it's not like, and there was something else in the pattern that I've not noticed, and so I didn't even cover it in my tutorial, which I feel really bad about. And it's my own fault because I didn't pay attention to the instructions enough, and I tested it. But there's a little hint that she gave on like the birthing corner. So instead of sewing, stopping, sewing, sew, and then you come back out to that edge and you did that seam allowance. I didn't do that bit, but I've tried it since, because she pulled me up on it. She's like, Sam, you didn't do this. I've got it in the pattern. Why didn't you do it? And I tried it out after she told me, and game changer. So seriously, like, if you have any of Jassie from Sophisticated Craft Designs patterns and you've been skim reading and you haven't been like properly paying attention to them because you're an experienced bag maker and you know how to sew, so you don't need, like, you just need to know the next step, go back and read them, because there is so many tips and so much knowledge in there that isn't covered in a lot of other patterns, but she covers it all. And it changes how you do things. And like, some of it is so smart. Yeah, Nikki, go back, try it. Because I know Nikki is like me. Nikki doesn't like birthing bags either. I don't want to make it sound like we're old, but we've got arthritic hands. But if you go back and do it and try and do it like that. So go and look at the Zaria charm pattern. And if you look at the page where the instructions talking about the birthing, and it's the seam line where she says to sew. It literally goes along and down. I've never noticed that down bit. But if you sew like that, and then when you birth it and turn it, and then you try and fold that fold, so much easier to do. Sorry, Jassy. Oh, but yeah, there is a lot in there. One thing as well, I noticed those tips right after I sewed the seam. I know, right? Yeah, the L stitches, that's what it's called. Yeah, it's so many things. I was telling Jassy the other day, the Pandora Allure, I've in the Pandora Allure, and when the sew along for the Travelnizer, I started trying to do it. You know, that looping thing where I'm sewing the, what's it called? The gusset on. And instead of doing it flat like you normally would and kind of go around the corner with the flat edge and the buffy edge like this, I'm holding a bag. So instead of sewing the bag this way and kind of sewing it like that, the loop is doing it this way, right? Sewing it upwards, which seems harder, turns out to be easier. There's another pattern that I've been doing for ages. It's not one of Jassy's patterns. And I don't want to name it because I don't want to make it sound like it's their fault, it's my fault. But I've made, I want to say like 15, 20 of this bag. And the gusset never fit for me, has never, ever fitted. And I've always had to like trim it and cut it. And in the instructions, there's no hints as to how to do the gusset. So I've just done it how I've always done it, which is flat. But since I learned that loop trick, I did, and I had to make that pattern again, I did the loop. And the gusset fits perfectly. Like I'm talking, I normally have to trim off the gusset by like, I don't know, 1.5 inches on either side. And it now fitted perfectly. And the only thing I changed was how I sewed that bit together. So yeah, genuinely like life-changing. Maybe not life-changing. Maybe that's a bit extreme, but it's a lot of little gems of wisdom in there. And like, there's a few times where you're like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? And then you try it and you're like, okay. One of the things the tester team and Sophisticated would know about this, when I tested the Sophisticated, the Travelnizer pattern, I came up with a tagline, trust the process. It's not even trust the process. It was in Jassy we trust. I would literally, as I'm sewing, I'm like, in Jassy we trust, in Jassy we trust, in Jassy we trust, because everything made no sense to me. And then it did. And that's when I learned, yep, you just need to, you need to trust the process. You need to trust what is happening because, who would have guessed a bag designer, a pattern designer would know more than a regular sewist? I have learned not to question Jassy. Well, I say I've learned not to question Jassy, but I still question her constantly. So I just wait for her to prove me wrong. And she does. And then I sit here like an idiot going, I was wrong again. But, you know, it has to happen, right? This is, you guys are making me really slow at sewing these. No, that's not true. At least it's getting done. Genuinely, I think like if I wasn't online right now, my brain capacity, I would have done like 2 and run off. Like it's not happening for me today. But Friday is my only no kid day. So Friday is the day that I have to have some sort of productivity. Otherwise it's like, Jassy saying I'm keeping you on your toes because I keep calling you out. You're worried what's Sam gonna say next. Sam's finally gonna give away all of my secrets. What am I doing? These, if anyone wonders why I'm going so slow, is because I'm getting thrown. These are like non-directional, but at the same time semi-directional. So I'm like stopping constantly, trying to work out what way I'm supposed to be sewing these. And it does make a difference. It really does. But, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. What time is it? It's 12:55 on my end. So I should probably be going soon because I don't remember what time my dentist appointment is. I know it's 1 something. So it's 5 minutes to 1. So I probably do need to 1:40. So I probably should stop soon so I actually get a chance to eat, because after the dentist, they're not going to let me eat, are they? And get all of that on. So let me just quickly finish this bit before I stop. Yeah. Okay. So I think wait until you see my stupid mistakes because of your distractions. I hope when I hang up here that there's going to be like photos on my phone from Nikki of all the stupid things that she's done while listening to me. Okay, I am going to hang up and head off because I probably do need to get on. Thank you for joining me. I can't believe so many of you guys stayed along. That's so lovely. I probably will not make this video public afterwards because I think there was a lot of me just talking rubbish. I don't know. I'll think about it. But thank you for joining along with me and sewing along. That was so much fun. I'm going to try, I don't know. Like I said, I'm testing a pattern at the moment. So that one's going to need a video. So I can't promise next week whether I can come on and do a live next Friday, but I really do want to do the card holder with you guys. That'll be really good. So let me try. I'm going to try. Yep, let's pencil me in for next Friday. Slacker. Let's pencil me in for next Friday. I'm going to try and come on next Friday to do the card holder. I'll even cut the card holder with you guys. How about that? So if anyone wants to join me, go buy or download, join the Facebook group and download for free the card holder pattern by Sophisticated Craft, and we can do it together next week. I'm going to do the card slots. We're going to fold it together, and I'm going to show you how I do the bulk on the card slots. So yay! Okay, there's a few of you guys that are going to be back. So obviously I've not been too boring and you guys have liked talking to me or listening to me talk. I don't know. So anyway, I'm Sam from Made by Erilyn. Thank you for joining me. Join me again next week and we'll do the card holder together by Sophisticated Craft Designs. Bye.